Hey, welcome to BreitWerks. So what are you looking at? Well, this is a new project for us called Franz 71911, and we are going to rebuild this little lady to all of her glory. So yeah, first look through, not a huge fan of the Morelli distributors, not because of anything other than you can't get parts for them. So we may be on the lookout for a Bosch distributor if anybody knows of one. And then I thought this was interesting. Looks like one of these heads was set up for MFI. So we'll have to check the numbers real close, see if it's a replacement head or did Porsche just decide, hey, we're gonna put that in there. But as we get this guy apart, he'll have his own rack right there. It's amazing how one of these engines will take up that entire rack from top to bottom. But that's the plan. All right, we're going to move her over into a more appropriate place for disassembly, and then we'll get back with you once we have the tins off so we can see the motor. All right, we've gotten some of her tins off, but this was interesting. There's like gold flake dust or bronze or brass or something. But unfortunately, if you chase it, it goes all the way down into the oil pump. So whatever that stuff was, well, it's on the bottom of the motor, not on the top, but only on the bottom. It somehow got down into the oil pump. So we'll have to take that guy apart, give it a good look. If it's an original pump, we may replace it anyway. But oof. Anyway, we're gonna keep getting on with it. So we pulled the valve covers off so that we could check the timing on the motor before we take it apart. And the timing was 2.5 on one side, 2.6 millimeters on the other side. 2.5 is the target. I think it's anywhere from 2.7 to 3. 2.2 to 3, but 2.5 is the target. So that's really good. But then what's a little weird is we got 9.8 millimeters maximum lift on the intakes, right? 9.7, 9.8. So they're really supposed to be like 9.2. So I'm not sure what cams are in here, or the rocker ratios could be off a little bit. So it's actually getting a little bit more lift than it should. So we'll check into that, see how the cams look. I mean, from the top side, you can see there's definitely a lot of wear on the cams. I mean, that's a pretty healthy amount of wear. So we'll see where we go with them. It's a carbureted motor, so we got some room, but we will see. And then especially if we're gonna do a piston cylinder kit, we'll have some room. But good news was, the thing was timed right. So whoever timed it did a pretty good job way back when, or whenever it was done. All right, we're gonna keep going. There's a couple ways to tell an engine's been sitting around for a while. One of them is, look at that. Somebody decided to start living in there. But we're making progress. So somebody had done some work in here at some point. They put the safety collars on. Very good idea. I mean, somebody was paying attention to the thing. It's too bad they over-torqued the crap out of everything else. But yeah, that means somebody's been in there, which might explain why we have that one different cylinder head. So if one of these guys failed, and well, we don't know it's a different cylinder head yet. The only thing we know is that it does have an MFI port, right? And the hole, you can see the hole for the MFI injector. But we're gonna have to look close at the numbers once we get it off and cleaned. But yeah, definitely somebody's been in there. That's a nice upgrade for the non-hydraulics. I think the owner wants to go hydraulics on this, so that'll be a nice add for the motor. All right, we're gonna continue to get on with it. But basically all we've done at this point is take the covers off. So the next objective here is gonna be to get the rockers out, because I'd like to be able to get that cam out so that we can take it apart by taking the cam box off first, leaving the heads in place. So that's the plan. we're gonna keep going. All right, you win some, you lose some. We got 4 of the rockers out, no problem. Other than being a little bit over torqued, but that is typical. Must have been amateur hour though, because I don't know how many videos I've posted on YouTube. That bolt that goes through the rocker, right? There's one here, there's one here. It should be coming in from this side so that you can extract it and get the rocker out. So now what we're gonna have to do is take all of this apart, loosen this up so that we can get a wrench in there and be able to extract the rockers. Otherwise you can't get the cam out, right? So you can't get the camshaft past the rockers. So we are gonna go in a little bit different order than typical, but we're gonna get there. All right, so for those of you that were wondering how we do it, by taking all of that stuff out, we can get the cam box or the chain box just this far off, right? Because between the chain and the cam makes it really difficult to thread this guy in and out. If it was an aluminum one, we could put a little more pressure on it, but this is a 1971 mag chain box, so we don't want to crack it at all. So we just got it set up off to the side, and then now we can get in here with our tool. And not only can we get in there with our tool, but we've got enough distance from here to here to be able to pull that bolt out. So there you go, and we're gonna keep going. All right, cam out, chain box off. I was not prepared to go that far. You can tell by the fact that I was only gonna pull rockers out, and then the workshop got, work table got overwhelmed. So we're gonna go clean that up a little bit. But so far, everything looks reusable. Those journals are awfully shiny, but we'll measure them, make sure they're okay. I mean, it's definitely 1971, so we're at 52 years. Good on you, little engine. All right, we'll keep going and see what else we can find. All right, we've got our first cylinder head off. We've got the cam rack off without a lot of fanfare, but pulled our first cylinder head off. Look at these cute little 84mm pistons in there. So very cool so far. A little bit of carbon to be expected, and the surface of the cylinder head's a little beat up, but nothing that our machine shop can't handle. So we're going to keep going, slowly but surely getting this guy apart. But yeah, looking down in at all the aluminum IMS gear, everything's looking good so far. So fingers crossed that it continues on this way. Such a cute little piston, tiny little valve pocket reliefs. Interesting. All right, I did the 4 through 6 side because that was the one that had that odd cylinder head. So let's take a look at it. So we definitely, well, nothing is for sure, right? Porsche could have put this on the shelf, pulled it off the shelf and put it in the car, but probably not. So first thing first, 371 versus 1070 versus 1070. And then the second thing is the casting number, right? So you got a 104306 here and you got a 104302 here. And this is also a 306. So this head that had the MFI injector port in it probably was replaced at some point in the past. Not a huge deal. We'll actually probably get that welded up so there's no, so that it's not got any oddities to the port flow. But yeah, that's why I took that side apart first. Usually I do 1 through 3, but 4 through 6 looked interesting. So definitely a different cylinder head. Not a huge deal, but you always find something unique when you pull one of these 50-something-year-old motors apart. So we're down to the sharp block, and so far, pistons and cylinders and rods out of the 4 through 6 side. And now we're going to go work on 1 through 3. I've just found it's easier to pull the rods before I try to split the case. So everybody does it a little bit differently, but that's what I've been doing lately, and it seems to be working out. So no, nothing major yet other than that cylinder head, but once we split the case, we'll see what's inside. So somebody really did not want the IMS cover to leak. There's, I think I'm looking at like 3 types of sealant. There's red stuff, there's black stuff, and then there's also the gasket. Interesting. It was definitely glued on there. The other item is these double nuts everywhere. I'm not exactly sure what that is. Any of you old timers know why somebody would do that? Please let me know. I'd love to learn. Maybe it's a trick. All right, we got all the pistons out. Time to split the case. All right, I know I said we were going to split the case next, but I changed my mind. It's a little easier to get the head studs out when you got everything on the stand bolted together. So I saved one for you guys because people asked about process. I cannot even find the name or part number for this tool, but over the years, this is the penultimate stud remover. It's got like a quill on the end, you tighten it up, and I've got like a 2-foot breaker bar on here. So that is what we are going to do here. Got to get it tight. The key is to get it tight. And the intakes, for some reason, are always a little bit more difficult than the exhausts. But once we get, all right, now that's pretty tight. So we're listening for the pop. That's what we really want to happen here. Not popping. There we go. As soon as you hear the pop, you know you're golden, because you can see the stud start to twist itself. And last thing we could possibly hope for here is a broken stud. So they got to come out one way or another. Number one, we're going to put ARPs back in. Number two, mag cases always get time certs. So they got to come out one way or another. But I usually get it to about there, and then I'll take this big quill thing off, because otherwise it just gets a little obnoxious. So unscrew that, slide over the threads. Sometimes you get it by hand, sometimes you need a second little stud remover tool. Well, let's see. Oh, look at that. It's just coming off by hand. We'll take that. And there we have it. So, 4 through 6 side, studs are out. That's fantastic. All right, we're going to keep going. All right, there you have it. Get the case open. I only found one piece of a chain guide. That's not the first time I've found one of those inside of an engine, but hey, all's well that ends well. We'll get it apart, get everything cleaned up. There's the other half of the case. And then we got our box of short block key hardware and our top end key hardware. And we got a lot of stuff to clean. So that's it. This little guy's name is Franz. So Franz has been case split, and yeah, now we got a lot of cleaning to do. So we'll keep you apprised as we go along. Thanks for watching. Check us out at BreitWerks.com. Have a fantastic day.